Welcome back, guys. So I want to tell you a little story about what my husband and I have been discussing recently and how it has led to me making this particular tip for you guys. My husband has been doing a lot of research lately for a project that he's working on, and we were talking about sources. I know, the dreaded S word, right? He would read these books, and then they were quotes really from other books, but he was just taking the quotes verbatim, as they said, as gospel truth.
What did you say?
I told him, you really can't do that. You really should check and be sure that they are quoting this person exactly. Check your sources. So that's what he did. He decided to seek out these books that these quotes were originally from, and would you be surprised? The quotes were wrong.
Oh, there's a big surprise!
He was completely blown away. So now he's actually taking the time to research all of his sources to verify that they are still correct. So let me tell you how this story led to this episode called Where Did You Get That From? So this is why we include sources in our work, so people can actually go and check out what we have found and verify that it is correct. Sometimes we only find transcriptions or indexes referencing a specific source, especially on Ancestry. Oh my gosh, how many times have we found a database that only included an index or just a small not even transcription, I guess you would say. It would be an abstract, I guess is the correct word. But how many times have we come across that in our research? And most of the time, we just go with what they said, assuming, okay, yeah, that has to be correct, and other times we don't even know how to check up on these particular sources. Well, because of all this, I wanted to share a tip with you. One way that you can actually look up the sources that are listed possibly on Ancestry, or how to find these particular sources. So I've been researching my husband's second great grandfather, Charles McCullough, and he'd served in the military during the Civil War. But there were two listings for his service, two times that he had served in two different units. And I wasn't sure if one was correct or both were correct or none were correct. And one of them was even a colored unit. And that kind of confused me because he's not a colored person. He wasn't black. So I was thinking, is this correct? Are we sure? Well, how do we verify this? So one of the sources that was given on Ancestry was called the U.S. Civil War Soldier Records and Profiles Database. That's quite a name. And this database gave just a summary of his full service record. And it gave his ranks, enlistments, muster dates, units he served in, and a great wealth of information. But again, it was just a summary of all of this. And the summary then was extracted from some other sources, as it said in the description on Ancestry. So how do I know that this is correct? I mean, on his headstone, it only listed one of those military services that he was in. One of the units, and it wasn't the colored one. So I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a Charles McCullough, because it kind of is, popular name, I guess you could say. So maybe that's a different Charles McCullough. I don't know. How do I verify this information? What do you do in this scenario? Well, if you look a little bit further down on Ancestry, on the actual page where it shows, I'll show it up here. If you scroll down just a little bit, it'll tell you the sources where they got this information from. And it listed 3 particular sources. And at first I was thinking, well, where am I going to find these sources? You know where I went? I went to Google. And I searched the names of these sources to see what would come up, because they sounded like they were books. And oh my goodness, Google Books has become my new best friend. I've been able to find old books on there that reference a lot of information that I've been looking for, especially, historical books. But these particular books were actually put out by either the state or the government about soldiers and their service for that particular state. And he served in Iowa. So Iowa had this book of all of the soldiers, a couple of books actually, that listed these soldiers and their service records and the muster dates and everything. So Ancestry had extracted a lot of the information from these books. So I was able to look up the pages, the actual pages, and read exactly where this information was coming from. And would you believe I was actually able to prove that yes, he did serve in both of those units, including a colored unit. He was a lieutenant in that unit. It wasn't for very long, but he still served in that unit. And that blew my mind. And because of that, I found out that his name is actually listed now on a monument in Washington, D.C. This museum and monument was built to recognize the service and the sacrifice of African Americans who served in the Civil War. And this monument is beautiful. I've seen some pictures of it online, but his name is listed with this monument, and it's just that I wouldn't have found that if I wouldn't have researched deeply to make sure that this definitely was him. So sometimes you really need to, well, not sometimes, all the time, you really need to verify these sources. And you may think, well, how can I verify them? They're not really there. These books are out of print. I can't find them anywhere. Try Google Books. All it takes is just a minute to type in the title of the book and search and see, and they might have the book for you to page through. And Ancestry includes information about where they get all of their information. So don't just rely on an index. Don't just rely on an abstract. Find the original source and verify that, yes, this is correct, because mistakes happen all the time. Transcription errors, human error, computer error. Always go back to the original source as far as you can. You may be surprised by what you find. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. We'll see you later, guys. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching my video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and then make sure you click the notification bell so you will be alerted to whenever I upload a new video, because you don't want to miss any of these. And then after you do that, be sure to check out the other videos that I have from my collection. We'll be seeing ya.